You ever see a device, maybe an office phone or a security camera, just turn on with a single network cable plugged into it? There's no separate power cord, no bulky brick. It just works. It kind of feels like magic, doesn't it? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it's done. I mean, just think about it for a second. We've all been there, right? You're setting up a security camera or a new Wi-Fi access point, and you're stuck running two separate lines, one for power and another for the data connection. It's just double the mess, double the work. But what if it didn't have to be that way? Well, that's where this brilliant solution comes in. It's called Power over Ethernet, or just PoE for short, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a technology that pushes both electrical power and a network connection over one single standard Ethernet cable. One cable to do it all. So yeah, this super simple idea, one cable, two jobs, is an absolute game changer. We're going to look at how this whole thing got started, why it's so incredibly useful, and maybe the coolest part, where all of this new power is taking us next. You know, it all started with this exact thought, a simple, relatable moment of frustration. Way back in the year 2000, engineers at Cisco were installing their brand new IP phones, and they kept hitting this wall. So they came up with their own solution, a proprietary thing called Cisco Inline Power, and that was basically the granddaddy of the PoE we all use today. Okay, to really get how this works, you just need to know the two main players in the game. First up, you've got the PSE. That stands for Power Sourcing Equipment. This is the device that's actually sending the juice down the cable. More often than not, it's a network switch that's built specifically to do this. It's the source. Simple as that. And then on the other end of that very same cable, you've got the PD, or the powered device. This is the gadget that's getting both the power and the data. You know, your security camera, your Wi-Fi access point, or that IP phone that kicked this whole thing off. All right, so why does any of this matter? What's the big deal? Well, there's this old saying that any good engineer is a lazy engineer. And PoE is just the perfect example of that. It's about finding a brilliantly simple, you might even say lazy, solution to a really annoying problem. Just picture the difference here. Before PoE, if you wanted to mount a camera on the ceiling, you had to call a network engineer to run the data cable, and then you also had to hire a certified electrician to come install a brand new power outlet right next to it. Talk about expensive and time-consuming. Now with PoE, one person runs one cable, job done. And that simplicity, well, it leads to some pretty huge benefits. For starters, you save a ton of money by not needing to call an electrician for every little thing. You get this incredible flexibility. You can put devices wherever you can run an Ethernet cable, not just where there happens to be a power outlet. The whole installation just becomes so much faster and easier for everybody. So, once engineers proved they could reliably power a simple phone over an Ethernet cable, you know what the very next question was, right? What else can we power with this? And that kicked off this decades-long quest for more and more and more power, all to support bigger and hungrier devices. And this journey, it shows you just how fast this technology took off. It went from being this Cisco-only thing in 2000 to an official industry standard just 3 years later. And from there, engineers just kept pushing the envelope, doubling the power in 2009, and then basically tripling that by 2018. That first standard, the 802.3 AF, it gave us about 15 watts. Now that might not sound like a lot, but it was absolutely a game changer. It was more than enough to handle those first IP phones and the first wave of network security cameras. But of course, we always want more. So in 2009, we got PoE Plus, or 802.3 AT. It doubled the available power to 30 watts. And this is actually still the most common standard you'll find out in the wild today. It's perfect for those fancier cameras with pan and tilt features and for high-performance Wi-Fi access points. Which brings us to today. The latest standard, which people call PoE++, can push, get this, a staggering 90 watts of power down a single Ethernet cable. That is enough to go way beyond just phones and cameras. We're talking a whole new universe of possibilities. Now, you're probably thinking what I'm thinking. 90 watts? What happens if I accidentally plug my expensive laptop, which doesn't need that power, into one of those ports? Am I going to hear a pop and see a little puff of smoke? It's a fantastic question, and the answer is all about the difference between smart power and, well, dumb power. honesty, there are really two flavors of PoE. The one that's the industry standard is called active PoE, and it's the smart way. When you plug something in, the switch and the device have a little conversation, like a digital handshake. They negotiate to see if the device even needs power, and if so, exactly how much. If you plug in your laptop, the switch says, oh, you don't need power, and just sends data. Now, passive PoE is the dumb way. The power is always on. And yes, it can absolutely fry devices that aren't built for it. So the bottom line is that modern, standards-based PoE is incredibly safe. This whole negotiation process makes sure a device gets exactly the power it asks for. No more, no less. It's this brilliant design that lets one single port safely work with any device you happen to plug into it. Okay, so now that we have this safe, intelligent system that can deliver a whopping 90 watts of power, what can we actually do with it? This is where things get really, really cool. I mean, we are now seeing things that would have sounded like science fiction just a few years back. You can power an entire small network switch from a single port on a bigger switch. You can run some laptops and small computers with just one cable. We're seeing entire smart LED lighting grids in office buildings powered and controlled over Ethernet. Even things like HVAC systems are getting in on this. And this quote just captures that excitement perfectly. The whole vision is for a world that's simpler, it's more efficient, it's more flexible. A world where installing a new device is literally as easy as plugging in a network cable. Because that's just cool, right? I know it might sound a little bit out there right now, but the trend is undeniable. The power limits just keep going up, and more devices are being built to support PoE from the get-go. So it really makes you wonder, are we heading towards a future where all that old-fashioned electrical wiring in our walls becomes a thing of the past, replaced by the humble do-it-all Ethernet cable? It's definitely something to think about.